Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so I've sort of understood the bamboo thing.
Yes.
I've understood this whole era of you and what was happening at Lampstand Records.
Yes.
How can I forget this one?
What?
I want to move huko kidogo River Road kwa sababu kuanza kufanya makolabo zingine huko.
Yes.
Manyunyu, brother.
Manyunyu.
You and Jimmy Gate.
Maririkane, Ben
Gedhai, exactly. Ukaingia hiyo River Road.
Mary Wamboi, Gaina Munene.
Yes. Ebu just tell us a bit about that.
I do that because for me, I believe I love the Kikuyus because they've maintained and retained their unity. They move in togetherness as compared to many other tribes. And then God has also, how am I going to put this? They're the ones who are running that river road. So I was like, how do I enter and also maximize and benefit through their entrepreneurial skills? So you join, you do things together, and in doing collabos and all those things together, when you spend time with Ben Gedhai, you spend time with the Kamboris, or you spend time with Mary Wamboi, they end up telling you these things. This is how we do our stuff, and you become better than the way you are initially. So I learn from them also. I'm learning.
Nice.
Yes.
At this time, have you now, to venture a little bit out of music, not out of music, but then within music, but something different. Have you started now participating in this whole MCSK movement? Ama that came after.
Now, you remember I told you, Poxy Pressure said, why unalishaje ngombe na mtu mwingine anakamua? So, of course, I started noticing one or two things which are not adding up. So, there's a time I went into an AGM meeting. It was actually being held in Machakos. So, when I'm there, the first injustice I saw was kuna podium iko na officials, wasanii wameko kwa kiwanja, and this kiwanja mazeni kwa direct sunlight bana. Na hiyo meeting huwa nasema 4 hours yetu, no, ni meeting inaanza kitu 9 inaisha 6. So I'm there, I'm realizing it doesn't matter. Kuna unaangalia hapo unaona nonini, unaangalia hapo unaona frasha wa P-unit, unakaa hapo unaangalia sasa wale wazee, unaweza kaa hivi unaongaro mahali hapo then the officials, it's like they're not noting that. So the worst bit was mmeko public venue. By that I mean kuna fence, it's a see-through fence. So the villagers wanapita pale pia wanaona vile mnatreatiwa. Sijui kama unani understand.
Nakuelewa.
It's like now uende mahali kuna meeting kwa kiwanja, then the speaker ameka kwa tent, na unaona hapo Babu Owino anatembea anaenda kuomba maji, unakaa hivi kidogo na Sakaja amepita hivi mazee. Uko bana, we regard you people so highly, what's up with kwa hivyo ndio mnafanywa na speaker wenu. So mimi nikaanza kuona it makes sense. This is a body that can afford a hall, even a premises like this. You understand? You don't have to be an open air place. It can be even a hall. You can get a venue, an enclosed venue. 2, if it's a must iko ya kiwanja, kwani how much is a tent? Or a dome? You know, like those ones for funerals. Kwani how much are they? Hizo madomes ziko zina capacity ya 1,000 people. So what is all this? Kidogo, people, there were bouncers kwa stairs za kwenda kwa podium. Niko, let me get this right. These are officials, but kuna mabouncer between us and them. Then there's something they know that we don't know. Why are you afraid? Honestly, imagine pastor ako kwa podium na ako na mabouncers hapa na anawapreachia. Kwani Bible anaisoma upside down ama nini? So mimi nikaanza kuona kuna mabouncers. 2, microphone inapatiwa ni kama watu wako pre-qualified. But the guys with the paining issues, microphone haiwafiki. Then where I knew there was an issue, it was about auditing. I got to a point where the members were to who's the official auditor. So we had reputable auditing firms lined up, and then kuna Kangede Wakamande auditors lined up. bana wakadisqualify hizi reputable auditing firms, wakaweka hiyo kamande wa Kioi ama wacha niseme kamande, wakaweka hiyo Eddie wa Muthegiri, and the associate and sons. Then I'm like, why would you do that? The difference was I think 400,000 shillings ama 600,000 shillings. Then everyone asked a very logical question. If 600,000 will make us get reputable, trustworthy data, back-end info, so be it. Exactly. As compared to
losing millions.
Na mtu atudanganya hata figures ametokea hapo, they are not reputable. So vita yangu ilianza hapo na wao.
Did you talk?
Walinikataza kuongea. The whole meeting until now makosa walifanya wakasema nani atatufungia na maombi. Sasa unajua bounce zikataza mtu kuja kuomba. So I talked through my prayers.
Father God, I want to let you know that here we have
sasa politics wakajua mjui politics. So that is where my battle began, and what made me even mpaka saizi niko passionate about that. The officials walko hapo like 80% of them walinipata kwa hii ministry. Umenishika ni watu vijana wadogo wamekuja tu juzi. Sasa imefika mahali yao wanatugandamiza. Na mimi nikianza kuimba hata kuamea. That alone. Na wengine walikuwa pia hapo, walikuwa mbele yangu, lakini niko at this age kwani hujui justice aje? Umenishika? So mimi nikasema no, never again. Mimi leo nitaka kwa jua. So my brother Dadioni pia atakuja akalishwa kwa jua. Kuna huyu Sledge pia atakalishwa kwa jua. Me have children. Wananionyesha masigns za kupiga masama na microphone. Tena watakuja wakalishwa kwa jua. So nikasema the buck stops with
you.
Me. Yes. Hapa sasa ni Samsoniac act. The whole stadium ianguke chini, tuanze tena upya. And until today, me I'm still pushing for that.
So what does that mean? What do you do? What assistance?
What I do
like
is,
there are people here watching,
when I see injustices,
you call them out.
I call them out. Like now there's one injustice. TV stations, media stations are not paying. All this music people are listening to, media stations are not paying artists. That is an injustice. And I'll speak about it openly with my eyes open. If you're a media station and not paying artists, you are killing your own musicians, period. If you are a CMO and you are not distributing, like now when they collect these monies, they're supposed to distribute 70% of what they've collected, and that is supposed to be for administration. Unfortunately, most of these CMOs, they distribute 30%. 70 wanakula. To me, I look at the CMOs directly, I tell them that is an injustice. Another injustice is the, I'm going to put it, excuse me, the licensing body, the government body is called Kekobo. Kikobo is letting all, well, unajua watu wanauza makokaini na mahironi and you're not taking any action. Unless you're telling us you're in bed with those CMOs.
With the drug addicts.
With the drug addicts.
With the drug suppliers.
Yeah. You, inaitwa ile Mohamed Ali anasema danganya toto jinga. Unless you're pulling danganya toto jinga to the for the artists. Mimi nasema pia that one is a serious injustice. For instance, you cannot have a CMO that every year it's supposed to distribute 70 and then use 30 for administration, but every year is distributing 30 na administration inachukua 70 and you renew their license.
Exactly.
I mean, what is that? Unless there's something you're not telling me. Every time I talk to business, the small SMEs, they call me. Mazee niko hapo kwa kinyozi bana. Wase wa CMOs wameingia. Wanasema wamekuja na polisi na Probox. Kama kuna license nifunge kinyozi. Those guys part with 5, 3, 10, depending with how big your business is. Some even part with $1 million.
What?
The same, they collect even in matatus. Now the taxis are supposed to do the same. How many matatus do you have in this country? How many taxis do you have? Ubers and all these riders do you have in this country? How many hotels do you have? How many kinyozis do you have? How many cyber cafes do you have? And they're diligently paying for those licenses and the money is not getting to the rightful holder. So to me, that is the hypocrisy of the highest order. I will not be silenced. I will put it as it is. It is injustice. Oh. From Kekobo to PRSP to the media houses, injustice, tabia mbaya.
Let me ask you a question now that you've brought this up.
Yes.
You sat down with the president.
Yes.
Because I feel like this story, kila msee amekamsitia na ameongea ya juu ya hii story.
Yes.
Let's first have a conversation. Like when you met with the president, what was that about?
I've met the president mara kadhaa, but unajua kama ni president unakutana naye, it depends the forum and what you're talking about.
Okay.
But let me just say it as it is. When we started pushing for these policies, like I'll go to Skiza, musicians were being paid 15%. Can you imagine? Of the revenue that they are getting from Skiza. For instance, what that means is tuseme ngoma yako imeuzwa 10 bob. Musician anapata ni 1.5 shilingi moja na sumuni. You know 1.5 million 15%. What is 15% of?
Yeah, you're right.
Niyo. Kama 10 bob musician anapata 1 and shilingi moja na sumuni. So you can imagine. That is how bad it was. Wewe kama ni shilingi 10 umenunua ngoma, musician anatoka hapo na shilingi moja na sumuni. So we lobbied, tukasema hii kitu tulisukuma mpaka the parliamentary committee led by Honorable Jamle Kamau, I remember very well. We took all these CMOs heads there. The parliamentary committee was perturbed by the kind of injustice that is going on. Some were not even distributing 30%. Wengine walikuwa wanakula kaa yote. Umeni understand? Na bado wanataka kukula zaidi. Then we pushed it back to His Excellency. Then it was pushed from 15% right now as we speak is at 30%.
Yeah.
That is after we started lobbying.
And let me also say, because of that,
yes,
Base, yes, which is now the video platform for Safaricom,
yes,
they are now giving 60%.
Yes.
So I can see progression.
We can see progression.
I like that lobbying direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I must thank Safaricom also for agreeing to move from 15% to 30%. But honestly speaking, I think they can do better.
Yep.
I have many friends and Safaricom by the way, support sana. My events zangu hawa support. But I still honestly feel they can do better than 30%. Because you cannot have a cow that unapeleka kwa soko, then ngombe na shilingi 1,000, wewe unapatiwa 300. Umenishika?
Yeah.
Yeah, because hapa katikati nilikuwa nakwambia kuna middlemen. Middlemen are so many. The people who are benefiting from musicians or the music creative industry are not necessarily even creatives themselves. They're just businessmen who've seen loopholes, as I stated earlier, and they're maximizing on it. They know there's no musicians unity, there's no associations, there are no bodies, and now they're taking advantage of that. But I can tell you, I can assure you, the moment the media station starts paying for airplay, the moment Kekobo isafishwe ikuwe safi, iache kurenew license kwa watu wenye wanacheza na MPESA musician ni kama ya mchezo. And then the moment CMOs will be serious, when you go collecting those licenses from these small SMEs, you distribute 70% to musicians, you'll see musicians life ita change. Na mimi niko hapa kuhakikisha nasukumana na hiyo kitu mpaka mwisho.
I love it. Are you thinking of running?
Where?
Have you into one of those positions?
Hapana, sitaki.
Utaki.
Sitaki.
You're a noisemaker. I'm not a noisemaker. You're not, the word is not noisemaker. You're activist. Activist from the outside.
From the outside.
Yeah.
Mstaki ni huko ndani because ile matope iko hapo unaendanga kuosha hiyo bafu unashtukia unauosha na matope tena. So okay. I don't want to be inside there.
Okay, yes, so let's switch. I love this conversation by the Raf. Na your wisdom, your wise at your wisdom, your wise sana. Watch me ask you this question about your brother. Now, this small boy who you've been mentoring, who's been following you and walking in your footsteps,
yes,
goes and becomes the biggest gospel artist in Africa.
Yes.
Forget even the levels at which you had taken to.
Yes.
Unampatia the bat. And I remember you doing it at Groove, handing him over at Groove and telling him, chukua hii kitu nakimbia. As a musician, what does that do? Is there jealousy? Are you proud? Are you scared about your own career? Does he feel, you know what I mean? I just want real talk.
I know. If you're talking about real talk, as a umeniuza Rafu umefanya mistakes.